If you are a small business owner who loves God, country, and capitalism, welcome to the War Plan Briefing. My name's Josh, and today I want to talk to you about 5 things you need to consider going into the recession. Yes, I said it, recession. Am I doom and gloom? No, I'm not freaking doom and gloom. I'm an optimist, but there's economic realities. Things are out of control in our country, politically, emotionally, morally, and everything else, right? There is a slowdown coming. The storm is real. It's going to be painful for most people, but I don't want you to be most people because you're already not most people. You were designed for greatness and born to win. I believe that. I truly believe it. So here's number one thing I want to start with. It's cash. Now, do you have $17 million in your checking account? Probably not. Probably not, unless it's Zimbabwe dollars. Maybe you have 17 million Zimbabwe dollar equivalents in your checking account. Look, you need to find ways to start accumulating and preserving cash. Why? But what about inflation, Josh? I got to put my cash to work for me in investments. Well, not necessarily, right? If you're a small business owner, there's going to be massive opportunities for you to buy discounted assets. Now, inflation, depending on where you look, is somewhere in the 8 to 10% range, which is painful, especially for people on fixed incomes, but you're an entrepreneur and you have more control than you think. Now, if you were not raised with money, what tends to happen is when you accumulate too much cash, it makes you uncomfortable. And then small businesses all over the country will self-sabotage. They'll buy a new piece of equipment. They'll sign up for 17 softwares they don't need, and they'll spend. That's not necessarily a very good idea for the next 6 to 12 months minimum. And besides, if you get rid of your cash, telling yourself you're trying to avoid inflation, you want to buy assets, or if you pay off all your debt, but now you have no cash, you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position for a couple different reasons. One of them is that you won't be able to move on the fire sales that are going to be everywhere. I don't care if it's land or other businesses. Some of you will be buying out your competitors for pennies on the dollar or buying discounted inventory, buying the assets from people that didn't follow this advice. You've heard the phrase that cash is king. We all know that Jesus is king. But for practical purposes, cash is king, right? Have cash, be prudent, be smart, and don't be emotional. The second thing I want you to consider is to take a good hard look at your offers. Josh, what do you mean offers? I mean the products and services that you're selling. A lot of people, especially broke ones, maybe you're a good person, but maybe you're broke too, is because you don't even have an offer. You just have a product or a service. You have a thing that you sell. You do transactions, but there's not a big master psychological plan behind how you package and position your offers, what you name your offers, what components of extra bonuses you can add into things you're already selling to make it more sexy, to make it stand out, to differentiate yourself, right? The law of comparison says that your customers, when they're coming to you looking to buy stuff, they're comparing you to other people, or they're also comparing what you have against the other stuff that you have. I'll give you one example. Every business needs to have what's called a decoy offer. Think in your brain right now, what is the most expensive thing you currently sell? I don't care what it is or how much it is, but there's something you sell that's like your premium thing. What I'd like you to do is pause this video or watch to the end of the video and then go do this. Create a new offer that's your decoy offer that is 3 to 5 times more expensive than your current most expensive offer. Why? For 2 reasons. Number 1, there's someone out there that's not affected by the recession, an affluent person who's going to stroll through your little shop and buy it from you. So that's nice. And number 2 is the law of comparison says that when you have this really expensive offer, it makes your other original previously most expensive offer look better. How cool is that? Look at your offers. Look at the components of your offers. How much stuff can we put in your current offers that have very little incremental cost to you, but add massive perceived value to your clients? Look, your competitors are sleepwalking. They're not thinking about this stuff. And I'd love for you to not just watch the video, but actually think through this and make some changes with your offers to prepare yourself. The third thing I want you to consider is making more noise. You're probably marketing like a mouse. You probably think you're doing marketing, but you got to understand, you're not here to do marketing, okay? Here and there, sprinkle it on like salt and pepper. No, marketing is the mashed potatoes, not the salt and the pepper, okay? Marketing is your business. You're a marketer whether you realize it or not, and especially when things slow down, what's going to wind up happening is your competitors are going to be more and more nervous to market loud, and this is going to be your chance to pounce in there and to take market share. There's lots and lots of buyers still, and even during the Great Depression, I think unemployment got up to close to 30%, but that means 70% of people were still employed. And that was like the worst case scenario in the history of our country so far, right? So even though things are going to slow down, there's buyers everywhere. There's people with money that don't even notice recessions, right? The middle class is who gets gutted during recessions. Small business owners are the ones that get gutted during recessions. There's still opportunity, but you got to get noisier. Not only do I need you to get noisier, we got to refine your messaging. You know, I heard someone say one time that you want to find something to say, make sure it's worth saying, and then say it well, right? What are you saying to the market? You know, I just talked about offers. Do you have an irresistible, irrefutably valuable, totally different new opportunity to offer your customers? If not, create one, invent one, practice ways to articulate and unpack the value that you have in better and new ways. And then last but not least, say it a lot. Say it often. Scream it from the rooftops if you have to. Most small business owners just aren't noisy enough. Have you ever heard of the A-10 Warthog? It's an airplane, and it's my favorite airplane as a kid, and it's a lot of people's favorite airplane right now. It's amazing because it has this gigantic gun built inside of it. And what's interesting is when I saw an interview with some of the original engineers of that aircraft, it was the first plane in history that was built around a gun. Now, listen, I didn't say that they added a big giant gun to an airplane. No, they had the big giant gun, and they said, hey, guys, engineers, build an airplane around this gun. Your business is like the A-10 Warthog in the sense that you are a marketer, and your operations and everything else around your business needs to be built around that. How noisy are you? How often are you noisy? And are you split testing and iterating and trying to test the market with new offers and being a little bit more aggressive than you have been in the past? If you do this, you cannot fail in the long run. Suggestion number 4 is do not let your emotions get the best of you. Do you realize the groupthink that happens in this country with everything? You know, as people start to panic, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Really, recessions are a self-fulfilling prophecy because it starts to compound on itself. People change their buying behaviors. The news shows up with all the housing stats, and the retail sales are down, and consumer sentiment is down, and all these things get into your head, and it puts you in a really difficult position as a small business owner. You can't operate from a place of fear and create abundance at the same time. Okay? Can I get an amen from the people in the back? You can't operate from a place of fear and create abundance for yourself. Now, look, should you have a healthy skepticism and a useful adult level, a dash and a dose of a little productive paranoia? Yes, you should. You should be smart and strategic. But that doesn't mean you let your emotions run rampant. If you made decisions poorly in the past with money, you don't have to do it in the future. If you went through the last recession with your small business, this one, you can do things different this time. If you look around at the way people like to buy high and sell low, which is what most of middle America does, most of your competition does, why do they do that? They do that because they're driven by fear. They're driven by panic. They're more consumed with not losing something than they are about building something. And so they try to protect themselves, they overcorrect, and they wind up hurting themselves really, really badly. Look, how can you control your emotions? Well, I'll tell you one thing you could do. It's cutting out toxic relationships from naysayers and negative people in your life. There's no upside by surrounding yourself with people that are paralyzed by fear, anxiety, and they have nothing but negative things to say all the time. Look, is it true that bad things are going to happen? Is it true that you could make some really smart moves and it still doesn't work out? Yes, that's possible. But what if it does work out? People always want to play the game of saying, well, what if I lose my money? What if it doesn't work? What if I market and my marketing flops and I wasted $1,000? Okay, but what if it does work? What if it does work and you can scale it and make $1.2 million, right? You ever ask yourself that? Look, you can't only look at one side of the ledger, which is the risk profile. You have to look at the upside too. And if you're a freaking entrepreneur, okay, and you love God, country, and capitalism, if you should have some level of faith, okay, that God's got you and your heart's probably in the right place, how can you behave like someone 10 times smarter than you are right now? One of the ways you can do that is by getting a grip on your emotions. And last but not least, tip number 5 is to focus on investing in your brain. Yes, your brain. You're going to make a lot more money with your brain than you ever are going to with your back. And if there's ever been a good time to really triple down on your own personal education, not just your mindsets, but your skill sets, the information that you need to know so you can do things other people can't do, so you can have things other people can't have, now's the time. I don't care if it's workshops or courses or mentors or whatever you have to do to get in the right room or to get in the right books to get this information into your brain, now is the time to do it. Arm yourself with knowledge that other people are too pokey to arm themselves with. They're too scared to arm themselves with. They don't have the kahunas to level up their brain. You realize the one thing that no one can ever take away from you is your brain. It is the asset. If I took away everything that Elon Musk owns tomorrow, do you think that he would become homeless and say, oh no, I don't know what to do. He would start another billion-dollar company. And even if I took Elon Musk, I took away all of his assets, and I said, you're not allowed to go to banks or raise venture capital, no funding at all. You have to start a bootstrapped business. Do you think this guy would fail? Are you joking me? If Elon Musk started a window cleaning business in my town and I'm a window cleaner, I'm pretty nervous because he's probably going to own the town in 36 months. Look, why? Because of his brain. Because his brain is the asset, the paradigm, the frame, the way he looks at the world is so different. What is your frame? How do we level it up? How do we change it? How do we teach you and help you look at situations asymmetrically, not just reactively, right? How can we calm emotions, zoom out, look at our own kind of chessboard of our business and our life and make some really logical, good moves for you? It gets easier when you're pouring in quality information into your brain and you're leveling up your network and surrounding yourself with big thinking people. That's what I want for you. Hey, can you do me a favor? If you got any value out of this whatsoever, click the little like button and the subscribe, just like you hear every YouTuber say ever, because it helps the algorithm. And I'm going to be making a lot more videos like this. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you watched, click the video on the left to watch the previous upload. And if you want one of my personal favorites, click the video on the right. And of course, don't forget to hit the middle to subscribe so you never miss an upload. Thank you again for being on this journey with me.